All right, so you've just bought a home and the offer's done, it's wrapped up, and now that your offer's accepted and you're excited about the house, you remember that rusty furnace and those broken tiles on the roof. Should you get an inspection? I think you should. Welcome to the Arizona Report. My name is David Meek. I'm a licensed Arizona real estate broker, and I have a very special guest in the studio today. His name is Dr. Dan Hayden. Dan served in the Air Force in an electrical and structural engineering capacity. He is a PhD in
structural engineering.
Structural engineering. This guy is the house whisperer. The topic of our show today is what to expect when you are expecting a home inspection. Dan, welcome to the Arizona Report.
How you doing today?
Doing great. So, home buyers, first-time home buyers especially, they've bought a house, they're excited about it, the offer's accepted, the excitement wears off a little bit because then they're facing the home inspection.
That's right.
Should buyers get a home inspection?
Most definitely, because that way, they've been sold this wonderful thing. Let's make sure it's everything they hope it is. That's what we're there to do, is to find out if there's anything else we need to expect.
Now, a lot of buyers will confuse the bank appraisal with a home inspection. They'll say, my lender's already ordered the appraisal, and I think the appraiser does the same thing as the home inspector. Is that the case?
No, the appraiser only gives what the market value is for the home and its toys around it, the pools and all that other thing.
Yes.
What the inspector does is go in and check to make sure the systems are functioning, safe, and what they've advertised.
So
is it as advertised?
So the appraiser's looking at the structure and the surrounding neighborhood and trying to determine value. Mm-hmm. The appraiser, unless they're operating in a limited FHA capacity, the appraiser is not getting into the furnace, getting into the attic, looking at the foundation, getting on top of the roof.
No.
The appraiser's in and out in about 15 minutes, and
Right.
that should not be taken as a home inspection.
No. And I've seen home inspectors move that fast, and that shouldn't be taken as an inspection.
That's a good question. I've seen home inspectors show up, get out of the truck, drop their laptop down, type a couple things on a laptop, and they're gone in about 90 minutes. Now, for your average size house, for an 1,800 square foot home with a 2-car garage, single level, you're looking at least 2 hours.
2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours to get a good inspection.
And if that's vacant and there's no dogs, no pets, nothing around to
No
slow you
swimming
down.
pool.
Yeah, that's just clean and out of there. Now, you put life into it.
What do you mean? What do you mean life?
Things not being turned on.
The seller,
Electric
for
is up.
example, hasn't turned on the utilities for the buyer's home inspection.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that needs to be on prior to ordering the inspection. And that goes on the both of the real estate professionals to make sure those items are on, the gas, electric, and water.
That's correct. The realtor should be having a conversation at the time of the offer acceptance. Mm-hmm. Hey, are the utilities on? Because we have a limited amount of time to conduct our home inspection here in Arizona. It's usually about 10 days unless it's changed by
Unless you live in
mutual
Minnesota
consent.
where it's 3.
3. How does anybody get a home inspection done in 3 days in
They
Minnesota?
call them before they buy the house, or
Wow.
before they even put in an offer. They call them pre-offer.
Wow. And it's a competitive market now, too. So don't wait until, my advice for home buyers would be, don't wait until you've put your offer in and it's been accepted to start thinking about a home inspection.
Yeah, to start doing your calls and your due diligence.
Exactly. Ask friends, neighbors, relatives, who did you use for a home inspection? Who do you trust? I know realtors will always have an inspection recommendation in their back pocket, but a lot of times, that's an inspector who the realtor has a relationship with, and those are fine, but you need to know that you're going to the table with an inspector who you have chosen personally.
That's right. You're better off choosing what you like, because that way you have talked with the inspector, interviewed them on the phone, and listen carefully to what they say, how they say, and what they say they will and won't do.
Yes.
And then there's also, remember, you have to know that they are limited by the Arizona standards of practice. And if it's not in Arizona, usually it's ASHI or InterNACHI standards of practice to be able to do a home inspection on. And if you're thinking that they'll open up walls and things of that nature, it's a limited visual inspection.
That gets to my next question. I was driving down the road the other day, and I had on a local radio station here in Phoenix, and they were interviewing a home inspector, well-meaning home inspector, and he said, "I inspect everything." And I thought, wow, what a dangerous statement, because that is, you can't set those expectations. Home inspectors can't see behind drywall.
No.
They don't have X-ray vision.
Even infrared that shows you temperature differential does not look through the walls.
Right. So you're looking for clues that would allow you to connect the dots to a prior repair or an existing problem with the house, but you cannot see through the walls.
And that's where the experience comes in.
Yes.
To see a little bit of stippling on one wall and see another wall turn out, we might have structure issues. This is why we're looking in the attic. This is why we're looking at the framing. This is why we're looking at the foundation. Has something happened?
And you're putting those pieces together, and you've been doing this since 1995 in the Phoenix Metro.
Yeah, that's just as a home inspector. Didn't include base commander facility inspections all over the world.
Well, you've been doing this for probably since the 70s in that capacity, commercial and residential. And the neat thing about you is you've got a background in electrical. And that is something that I've seen you operate in that capacity, and you excel at that. You are the house whisperer. You are the house whisperer. So let's delve a little bit deeper into that question. If I'm getting a home inspection, what can I expect my home inspector to inspect in Arizona? What will he or she not inspect?
Okay, that will go straight down to, we'll start on the exterior. We look at the lot grading to see if it floods a lot, to see if we have a negative grade going up towards the stem of the house, see if there's any flower beds that are planted up against it that just cook water right into the house. Just push it right in with a sprinkler inside the flower bed and making it bubble, toil and trouble. Then we just move on to the exterior of the house itself. Then whether it's brick, stucco, whatever it is, be able to have the experience to look at those kind of finishes to see if they're right. And if it's brand new fresh paint, beds are off. If it's brand new fresh paint, then we're looking at,
that's a clue.
That's a clue that something has been done.
Yeah.
Especially at the eaves and corners. Of course, there's going to, and always expect some things to be going on. This is not the perfect bubble world.
Homes are living, breathing organisms, almost.
Yes.
And they are in a constant state of change.
Yes.
And the home inspector is there to basically take a picture on that day, not to project into the future, but to take a snapshot of what's happening with that home on this date.
That's right. And what it did or didn't do. I mean, like when you're standing there in the living room and you hear something make awful noises from the fireplace, what's going on? Well, it was the damper. It was scraping against the side, making it sound like there was a mule outside the door. Anyway, there's tons of them. I can go on forever. But things like the chimneys. Are the chimneys straight? Do they lean? Is it a one-piece chimney? We have some here in Arizona. That's a single concrete pour.
And they were the wood-burning fireplaces in Maricopa County were banned after 1998, so you won't find any.
That's right.
Any
well, they're still playing with them in '99 in places they could get away with it.
There you go.
You'll still find some. I can actually name the communities.
So if things that you wouldn't inspect, for example, if you buy a high-end luxury home and it's got a lot of custom appliances, wine coolers, are those things that you inspect? Irrigation systems?
This is where you have your team and you sit down with your client and say, this is what we do inspect. What else do you want for a fee? That's where you start getting common sensible, just like doing a commercial building. One of these big high-end homes, it's just like a commercial building. Here's the basic package. What else do you want?
One of the questions, Dan, I wanted to ask you about is, and several buyers have raised this to me in the past, and they'll say, I know a home inspector does a good job, but my Uncle Pete is a contractor, and he'll do it. He's free next Tuesday. He's going to come over and take a peek. Why should a buyer not bring a family member in who's not a qualified home inspector?
Well, my experience is don't deal with family members when it's something of that significance of importance of purchase. Plus, the contractor is not in the mindset, unless it's very rare, to be able to be in the inspection mode, because they're in repair mode, not defect recognition mode. And that's a whole different world of mindset.
And Uncle Pete may be an expert, excellent specialist in framing, but he doesn't know about AC.
That's right.
Or he may know everything about roofing, but he's not an expert in plumbing.
And then when that broken stem shows up, he didn't see it.
Well, he still gets an invite to the holiday party.
That's right.
So hiring a well-meaning or bringing in a well-meaning family member is still going to leave the buyer falling short of...
And with no recourse.
Yeah, and Uncle Pete can't write a formal home inspection report that the seller can see.
There's a good chance the seller won't accept a family member report.
Right. Now, cost of a home inspection. Let's say I have an 1,800 square foot, 3-bedroom ranch home, 2-car garage built in the 1980s. How do you don't have to give away your secret sauce. How do you price your home inspections, and what can a buyer expect to pay?
Well, I usually tell my people when I actually talk with them on the phone, have them give me the square feet, and I tell them my formula, cents per square foot, and then here's the one thing that we never get the charge for, is the garage. All those hundreds and thousands of square feet I've never been able to charge for are garages.
It's not a livable area. Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff in the garage. But I do the formula by the living square feet.
Okay.
And then there's an addition for pools, because Arizona does have a pool inspection standard.
Yes.
And so my insurance company has dictated to me how much I charge for the pool. And
there's a lot that can go wrong with a pool. I've read that
right.
1 in 20 swimming pools has a leak.
That's right.
1 in 20. So if you're buying a swimming pool, all the components, the pump, the sand filter, the...
As we sit here today,
chlorinator.
My leaky pool is being fixed. I have some pipe leaks that are being fixed as we speak.
Excellent. Excellent. They
Even
leak.
the inspector will have a leak.
You're not immune.
That's right.
You're not immune. So in terms of cost, maybe generally speaking, for most single-family homes, a buyer can expect to pay
about $300, $350 on up.
$300 on up, maybe $300 to $500. Now, if it's a 10,000 square foot home where
that's where you sit down and work a formula with your client.
It's got 3 furnaces and a 15-car garage.
10,000 square feet. That would actually be about. We're talking standard. If they use standard house air conditioners, there would probably be 5 to 9 of them, and then you're also talking an additional water boosting system if you've got that much square footage.
Yes.
Because you're going to have a lift pump. You're going to actually have a pressure increase in halfway through the house. I did one of these monster houses up in Sedona. By the time I got out to the guest house, I had no water coming out of the faucets.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, you've got to figure if you're going to be under pressure about something, you got to make sure it's right.
There you go. How long does a home inspection take, and should the buyer be present?
Buyer very much be present as
Agreed.
we call as we wind up, as we call, because you got to give us a chance to be able to get our heads wrapped around the place. No matter how small or how big, the inspector has to have a chance to focus and put the pieces together of what's going on.
And you're setting up ladders, you're setting up your computer at the beginning of the inspection. If the buyer comes in about halfway, you've already started to wrap your brain around that house, and you'll be able to present the buyer a picture of what's happening.
Yeah, and depending where we're at, I may say go ahead and do some measurements on things in the house, walk through the house and see what you're buying, because that's their big chance to go back through and see what they're buying and feel happy about it again.
Or bring relatives through, or measure for furniture that they want to place.
But don't bring pets.
Pets. Well,
I had one that brought a pet. I got bit.
Oh my goodness.
Dog bit me.
Don't bring pets. Man, oh man. So how do I go about picking a home inspector if I'm a buyer?
Well, there are two websites, InterNACHI and the American Society of Home Inspectors. There's
Trade
also
organizations.
trade organizations. There are also the Arizona Board of Technical Registration Home Inspector list. And all that is a licensed list. And if you look at that list, if you're looking at all those names, as long as they have the letters AC in the qualification column, okay, he's still licensed.
AC.
Active.
Okay. Active. AC for active.
Mm-hmm.
And that's at ASHI?
No, that's the Board of Technical Registration.
Okay.
.gov.
Okay, with Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I've decided to hire a home inspection for my home inspector for my home purchase. How much lead time do you need? Because I only have 10 days according to my contract to get the home inspection done. If this is Monday and I just got my offer accepted, how much lead time do you need?
I need at least 24 to 48 hours lead time, so I can circle the horses and get everything ready.
And you're doing research on the home before you even step foot in the door.
Exactly, especially for the older homes. I do, from my own knowledge, I do what's called a build fax. I find out what's been done to the home for the last 20, 30 years.
Permits, electrical permits. Those
Is
are
there
clues.
a pool or isn't there a pool? I pulled up one where it showed no pool, and there was, the house was being shown, the taxes showed a pool, but there was no pool. It was amazing.
It's been backfilled.
No, it was never installed.
Never
It was one
installed.
of those builder offers that they didn't cancel the permit.
Wow. So they've been paying taxes on a swimming pool for decades and
Yeah.
didn't know it. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness. Yeah.
That's why your taxes are higher than your neighbors.
That's another tip is always go online and look at your tax record with the assessor. Well, Dan, thank you very much for coming into the Arizona Report. If a buyer wants to hire you for a home inspection, how do they reach you?
Just give a call at 602-561-7272 or southwestbuildingconsultants.com.
Southwest Building Consultants. Dan, thank you very much for joining us on the Arizona Report today. I hope you come back. I'd like to pick your brain about electrical panels. I think that'd be a great resource
That'll
for
be
the
a
listeners.
shocking session.
Sounds good. Thank you for joining us. My name is David Meek, licensed Arizona real estate broker and or creator of the Arizona Report. Find us online at arizonareport.com or across the social media sphere at username Arizona Report. If you'd like, you can reach me here in the studio, 480-999-MOVE. That's 480-999-MOVE. Until next time, thank you very much for joining us.